That was, I was lucky to get to work with Dusty and Blackjack and Barry and everybody that came through, and get to watch Eddie and Mike. And, it was a great place and a great time. Rick will tell you every time he came in, Rick would be selling the joint out. But the unique thing about Dusty, and I want to see if Rick agrees with me, I wrestled him almost every night for 3 years in Florida.
Wow.
I never heard, and I wrestled him a couple of other years when I came back, and I wrestled him in Atlanta, but when I never heard anybody ever yell, Dusty, you're fat. Not one person. And that always amazed me, because even back then, me or Rick being a heel, Rick probably had more fans than I did, but I had maybe 8% fans, and those fans never yelled at it. You know what I'm saying? He was bigger than life. Him and Rick drew money up the ass. One of the greatest angles I ever came up with was the Midnight Rider against Ric Flair, where the Midnight Rider beat Flair in Miami, but he could, and Bob Geigel, who was then president of the NWA, said he doesn't have to take on his mask off, but he got to show me who he is. And Dusty wouldn't do it, so the belt went back to Rick. So it put more heat on Rick. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
More heat on Rick, because Rick was saying it was Dusty all along. People knew it, but when the belt switched, they thought, well, Dusty will be the Midnight Rider, and it went back to him. I mean, Rick and Dusty, if you wanted to draw money, that's all you had to do is put those two guys together. And it's true, and they work so well together. A lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, a lot of people don't understand, especially the guys of today, and this is not knocking them, they would be shocked at how agile Dusty was for a big man. He could move in the ring.
Yes, he could.
Don't you think, Rick?
Yes.
First
of all, people don't realize, as you know, Kevin, I wrestled Dusty like probably 200-hour Broadways over the years.
Oh, yeah, 60 minutes. And he would do agile stuff, Conrad. Yeah. And he was unbelievable. He was bigger than life. When Rick was hot, and he was hot about the same time in the mid-'70s, they would go to Charlotte, they'd sell out. They'd go to St. Louis, they'd sell out. They'd go to Florida, they sell out. They'd go to Houston, and they would sell out. It was a match that was easily to draw money. You know what I mean? And I think, one of the things about Dusty is like you, Rick. He was bigger than life. You could have a love-hate relationship with Dusty your whole life, you know what I mean? But Dusty was one of those guys